The untold history of the AK-47. Why it's the most popular rifle among fighters and gun enthusiasts. What if I told you that one gun has shaped wars, revolutions, and criminal empires for over 75 years? A weapon so reliable, powerful, and accessible that it's been the go-to choice for soldiers, rebels, and even gun enthusiasts around the world. Whether you're fighting in a war zone or collecting in your own backyard, this weapon remains king. And that weapon is the AK-47. Today, we're diving into the legendary history of the AK-47, how it was born, why it became so popular, and what makes it the most recognized weapon on the planet. But before we get into that, make sure to stick around to find out why some say it's the weapon that won't die, and how it continues to influence wars today. Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Here, we dive deep into the most fascinating stories behind weapons, history, and much more. If you're as captivated by the power of history and the tools of war as we are, then this is the place for you. Now, let's get into it. The AK-47's story begins in the aftermath of World War II, in a time when the world was rapidly changing, and so was the technology of warfare. The Soviet Union had just emerged from a brutal conflict with Nazi Germany, and its military was in desperate need of a new type of weapon, something that could outperform the rifles and submachine guns that had become obsolete in the face of modern, mobile warfare. The Red Army wanted a firearm that could deliver both the rapid firepower of a submachine gun and the accuracy of a rifle at longer ranges, all while being simple enough for mass production and durable enough for the harshest conditions. Enter Mikhail Kalashnikov, a young Soviet tank mechanic and engineer. After being injured in battle during World War II, Kalashnikov turned his focus to designing weapons. Inspired by the struggles he had seen on the front lines, he wanted to create a weapon that soldiers could rely on, no matter the environment. His idea was revolutionary: a gas-operated, selective-fire assault rifle that could be easily manufactured and maintained by even the least experienced soldiers. Kalashnikov's design would allow for both semi-automatic and fully automatic firing modes, giving soldiers flexibility in combat. By 1947, the prototype was ready. Dubbed the Automat Kalashnikova 1947, or AK-47, it was quickly adopted by the Soviet military. The AK-47 wasn't just another firearm, it was the answer to the Soviet Union's need for a versatile, efficient weapon that could be deployed to millions of soldiers across vast, unforgiving landscapes. Its introduction marked the dawn of a new era in warfare, one where mass production, simplicity, and reliability could mean the difference between victory and defeat. But its success wasn't just about the gun itself, it was about timing. The Cold War was heating up, and the Soviets saw the AK-47 as a tool not just for their own soldiers, but as a means to arm their allies and spread their influence. As the Soviet Union expanded its reach into Eastern Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, so too did the AK-47. It was shipped to Allied governments, revolutionary groups, and insurgents, becoming the symbol of both state power and guerrilla resistance. Why the Alaska 47 island so popular? The AK-47's popularity is rooted in several factors that make it unmatched in the world of firearms. First and foremost is its legendary durability. The AK-47 was designed to perform under extreme conditions, and it has lived up to that reputation time and time again. Whether it's exposed to mud, sand, snow, or water, the AK-47 is nearly impossible to break. Soldiers and fighters around the world have put it to the test in some of the harshest environments imaginable, and it almost never fails. Its simple construction means fewer moving parts, which translates into fewer things that can go wrong. For fighters in remote or resource-limited areas, this reliability is not just a convenience, it's a matter of life and death. Another reason for its popularity is its ease of use. The AK-47 is famously simple to operate, even for people with little to no training. This simplicity has made it the weapon of choice for guerrilla forces, insurgents, and militias around the world. You don't need to be a professional soldier to handle an AK-47 effectively. The rifle can be stripped and cleaned in minutes, and its design is so intuitive that even inexperienced fighters can quickly learn how to use it. This accessibility has played a huge role in its widespread adoption, particularly in developing countries and conflict zones. Then there's the availability and affordability of the AK-47. After its initial production in the Soviet Union, the AK-47 was manufactured in dozens of other countries, leading to a massive global supply. Millions of AK-47s have been produced, making it one of the most common firearms in the world. This abundance has driven the price down, particularly in regions with black markets. In some areas, an AK-47 can be purchased for less than the cost of a smartphone. This affordability has made it the go-to weapon for militias, criminal organizations, and even regular civilians who need an effective tool for defense or combat. But it's not just its practicality that makes the AK-47 so popular. It's also a cultural icon. Over the years, the AK-47 has transcended its role as a military weapon and has become a symbol of revolution, resistance, and defiance. You see it on flags, in revolutionary posters, and even in popular culture. The image of a fighter holding an AK-47 over their shoulder has become synonymous with rebellion against oppressive regimes. Whether in the hands of a freedom fighter or warlord, the AK-47 represents power and resilience. This symbolic power has only added to its mystique and allure among gun enthusiasts and collectors. In short, the AK-47's popularity isn't just because it's a great weapon, it's because it's the weapon of modern warfare. Its combination of durability, simplicity, and global availability has made it the firearm of choice for countless fighters and gun enthusiasts, ensuring its place as a cultural and military icon for decades to come. The AK-47 has been involved in more global conflicts than any other firearm in history. Its influence stretches across continents and ideologies, making it a key player in some of the bloodiest wars, revolutions, and insurgencies of the last 75 years. The rifle's introduction in the Cold War era meant that it was quickly disseminated across Eastern Europe, Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Wherever conflict erupted, the AK-47 was never far behind. In Vietnam, for example, the Viet Cong famously used the AK-47 against American troops, and the weapon proved so reliable in the dense jungles that U.S. soldiers would often abandon their own M16s, which were prone to jamming, and use captured AK-47s instead. The rifle's ability to function flawlessly in harsh environments, from monsoon-drenched jungles to scorching deserts, made it the perfect weapon for guerrilla warfare. As the Cold War intensified, the Soviet Union armed its allies and proxy forces with millions of AK-47s. It became the weapon of choice for countless insurgencies, revolutions, and civil wars, from the Middle East to sub-Saharan Africa. In the hands of freedom fighters, rebels, and warlords, the AK-47 was a tool of both liberation and oppression. It was used in the fight against colonialism in Africa, in civil wars across the Middle East, and even in modern-day conflicts in Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The rifle's widespread availability meant that it was not only used by organized militaries but also by paramilitary groups, militias, and even child soldiers. The weapon's association with insurgent groups is particularly significant. The AK-47 became a symbol of the underdog, of those fighting against larger, more powerful forces. In Afghanistan, the Mujahideen used AK-47s to battle Soviet forces during the Soviet-Afghan War in the 1980s, and decades later, the Taliban would wield the same weapon against American forces. In Africa, the AK-47 has become the face of many civil wars and insurgencies, used by both rebel groups and governments alike. The image of fighters, often wearing makeshift uniforms and carrying AK-47s, became a common sight on the news, forever linking the rifle to global conflict and guerrilla warfare. Its simple, rugged design allowed it to be used in conflicts where supply chains were weak and resources were scarce, further cementing its role as the weapon of choice in asymmetric warfare. Beyond the battlefield, the AK-47 has embedded itself in popular culture and become an enduring symbol of rebellion, power, and defiance. Its distinct silhouette is instantly recognizable, appearing everywhere from movies and video games to art and music videos. In Hollywood, the AK-47 is often depicted as the weapon of choice for villains, revolutionaries, and outlaws. Films like Scarface, Rambo, and Black Hawk Down feature the rifle prominently, using it to signify the raw, unchecked power of its wielders. In action movies, the AK-47 is synonymous with chaotic, high-stakes gunfights, often in war zones or criminal underworlds. The sound of its rapid-fire burst has become iconic in its own right, used in soundtracks and games to signify danger and conflict. Video games, too, have embraced the AK-47, with titles like Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, and PUBG including it as a default weapon. In these games, players gravitate toward the AK-47 for its balance of power and simplicity, much like real-world soldiers and fighters. Its presence in gaming has only further solidified its status as a cultural icon, especially among younger generations. The rifle's appearance in these digital worlds has introduced it to millions of gamers who may never encounter the real thing, yet understand its importance as a symbol of raw firepower and dominance. The AK-47 has also taken on a life of its own as a political and revolutionary symbol. It appears on the flag of Mozambique, representing the country's fight for independence, and is often seen in the hands of guerrilla fighters and revolutionary leaders in propaganda posters and documentaries. Its image transcends its function as a weapon. It has come to represent resistance against oppression, whether in the hands of freedom fighters battling colonialism, insurgents fighting oppressive regimes, or even criminal organizations asserting their dominance. In music, particularly in genres like hip-hop and reggae, the AK-47 has been referenced as a symbol of street power, rebellion, and survival. Its image, both feared and revered, has made it an iconic representation of strength against the odds. Whether portrayed in a positive light as a tool of liberation or in a negative light as a symbol of violence and chaos, the AK-47's cultural presence cannot be denied. It's more than just a firearm, it's a symbol, a statement, and an enduring part of global consciousness. For gun enthusiasts, the AK-47 represents far more than just a weapon. It's a piece of history, an engineering marvel, and a symbol of rugged reliability. While the AK-47 is most famous for its role in global conflicts, it's also one of the most sought-after firearms among collectors and hobbyists. Why? First and foremost, its reputation as one of the most durable and reliable firearms ever created is a major draw. Gun enthusiasts admire how the AK-47 can withstand the harshest conditions. Whether submerged in mud, drenched in water, or dropped in the sand, the rifle will keep firing. This resilience has become legendary in the firearms community, earning the AK-47 a reputation as the gun that just won't quit. For many collectors, owning an AK-47 isn't just about having a firearm. It's about owning a piece of military history that has shaped the outcome of wars and revolutions. The AK-47's simple and functional design is another reason it's beloved by gun enthusiasts. Unlike many other rifles that require extensive cleaning, complicated disassembly, or special tools, the AK-47 can be taken apart and put back together with minimal effort, even by a novice. This simplicity is especially appealing to collectors who appreciate mechanical brilliance, as the AK's design achieves efficiency without sacrificing effectiveness. It's not uncommon for enthusiasts to modify their AK-47s with aftermarket parts like custom stocks, sights, or even different calibers, adding a level of personalization that makes each rifle unique. Gun owners are also drawn to the AK-47 because of its cultural significance. For many, the rifle is more than a tool. It's a symbol of power, independence, and resistance. Having an AK-47 in one's collection is like owning a piece of history that has shaped global politics and conflicts. It's an icon in its own right, and for enthusiasts, it's a way to connect with the legacy of one of the most influential firearms ever made. Whether they're using it for recreational shooting, hunting, or as a collector's item, gun enthusiasts often speak of the AK-47 with reverence, recognizing its historical significance and mechanical genius. It's a firearm that commands respect, whether it's on the battlefield or hanging on the wall of a collection. Despite the rapid advancement in firearm technology over the decades, the AK-47 refuses to fade into history. In fact, it's more relevant today than ever before. But why has this rifle endured when so many others have come and gone? The answer lies in its timeless design and unparalleled reliability. The AK-47's simplicity and durability make it nearly indestructible, which means that even rifles produced over 50 years ago are still in active use today. Unlike more modern weapons that rely on advanced materials or electronic components, the AK-47 thrives on its mechanical simplicity. With just a handful of moving parts, there's very little that can go wrong, even in the most extreme conditions. This level of reliability is priceless in war zones and remote areas where replacement parts and maintenance are hard to come by. Moreover, the AK-47's global reach and mass production have ensured that it remains one of the most widely available firearms in the world. Over 100 million AK-47s and its variants have been produced since its inception, flooding the global market with cheap, effective rifles. It's not just a weapon used by military forces, it's also the go-to firearm for insurgent groups, militias, and criminals across the world. Even as newer assault rifles are developed, none of them can match the AK-47's combination of affordability, ease of use, and resilience. In many parts of the world, it's easier to get your hands on an AK-47 than any other weapon, and that ubiquity keeps it in the hands of those who need a reliable tool of war or self-defense. What's more, the AK-47 has become an icon of resistance and revolution. Its image is forever tied to independence movements, uprisings, and the fight against oppression. For many, the AK-47 isn't just a gun, it's a symbol of the struggle for freedom. As long as there are conflicts, revolutions, and regimes to resist, the AK-47 will likely remain in circulation. Its symbolic power is as strong as its firepower, and that's something no technological advancement can replace. Even in the modern era, where smart weapons and high-tech assault rifles are becoming more common, the AK-47's status as a reliable, accessible, and powerful tool keeps it in demand. In the end, the AK-47 isn't just surviving, it's thriving. New variants continue to be produced, and countries around the world still rely on it as the backbone of their infantry forces. The gun that was designed in the ashes of World War II continues to dominate battlefields and collections alike. Its legacy is one of resilience, both in terms of its physical construction and its cultural impact. The AK-47 won't die because, quite simply, there's no reason for it to. It's the weapon that has proven itself time and time again, and its place in the history of warfare is cemented as one of the most enduring tools of conflict the world has ever seen. From its humble beginnings in Soviet Russia to becoming the world's most popular rifle, the AK-47 has left an indelible mark on the history of warfare and weaponry. It's more than just a gun, it's a symbol of power, resilience, and defiance. And if you found this deep dive into the history of the AK-47 interesting, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth content like this. Let us know in the comments below what topic you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.